right, welcome in everybody. AJ, this is the second season that we're officially concluding, even though we do got summer action and Euros coming up, so don't worry, we ain't going anywhere. But we made it through the COVID short season with the pause. Now we've made it through a full one. After today, I will have over 200 best bets given out on Line Breakers FC. We're in the episodes somewhere near number 60. I mean, we've been cranking it out now for over a year and a half. End of the season 2, brought to you by the breakdownsports.com. How you feeling?
Dude, awesome. I can't believe we haven't killed each other after working together for 2 years on this, or 2 seasons, pardon me. Definitely learned a lot from you. Hopefully viewers are learning a lot from us and Joey B as well. But yeah, ready to dive into this final slate.
Well, I guess it's a good thing that the Wolves and United matches haven't really mattered that much. So that definitely helps us not going at our throat, because last season we were starting to do it a little bit more when they had the table race. But Joey B, good thing he ain't here, because he would be the one going at it, because good thing you don't like a team in Serie A, even though your favorite club's who's ever playing Inter that weekend.
Yeah, and you say like we go at each other. No, it's all freaking you going at me, but that's what we love, and I'm excited. And who knows, maybe I'll pick up a Serie A team next season.
Yes, sir. So let's get into it. Let's grip it and rip it for what's at stake for this weekend. We're going to cover the big 5 across Europe real quick, because we got some pretty good matches that are going to mean a lot, others that are going to mean nada. Then we'll get into our best bets as usual. So in the Premier League, we got the Champions League at stake. Chelsea traveling to Villa. They pretty much have that locked up as long as they get a win there. But if they draw, they could potentially fall out. So all 3 points are needed for them. Palace goes to Liverpool. Liverpool's just been a train right now, just breezing through everybody. And then probably the top match that'll have the most implication on how the standings look, because that does have Europa implications as well. Tottenham traveling to Leicester. So are you in the same boat as me? We just expect Chelsea and Liverpool to pick up all 3, or is there any way you think we could see one of those teams drop points and get a draw?
No, I sadly do agree we see Chelsea and Liverpool take those last 2 spots, but I am a fan of chaos, and I hope we see some final day chaos.
So with Leicester City and Tottenham, since neither of us have a play on that match, we got the money line for Leicester, home favorites at even. Thank God, maybe they're happy they don't have to play Chelsea anymore, because it just seemed like they kept running into them. Tottenham at plus 240. You got an over-under 3. That Tottenham lineup that they put out last weekend, it was one of the times on my Twitter timeline that once I saw the lineup midweek, I'd never seen so many Spurs fans just lose their mind over it, and then they end up dropping points at home when they have their fans back against Villa, which I just thought was insane, because it's the first match back. Maybe that's like been one of the biggest motivations some cappers have been using, especially for this midweek matches and the last one. Maybe I have one coming up as well, but here it just seems like Tottenham, did they save their guys for this match? Because I don't know if they just expected to pull out a result and just think all they had to do is pull out another one here and they'd be safe. But from the way when we get into the Europa matches that are coming up as well that have those implications, Tottenham, I think, is looking on the outside, because even if they do pull out, all 3 points are needed for here. That's why, and it's crazy they're sitting all the way up at plus 240, even though Leicester needs them all to stay up and to try to get into the Champions League. So there's just a match to watch. What's your thoughts on it? Any leans?
Yeah, just a lot going on. I have to agree that this midweek match, Tottenham, I agree. I don't know what the hell they were doing. I could see why Harry Kane wants to leave. Obviously, something is wrong with the club. But regarding leans, with everything being said, everything going against Tottenham, I think Tottenham, you could get them on the Asian handicap for half a goal. So it's at minus 120. That's where I have to look on this match. I do think they get some result. I don't know if they get all 3 points there, but I think they get some points here. What are your thoughts on it?
I think Harry Kane, we can use the same thing as Ronaldo, where maybe he's more keen to play for a Europa team than Ronaldo would be. But if Tottenham does not qualify for any, even if it is the playoffs, I think it's gone and dead. But I saw something where if they're going to get 100 mil for him, and this was Harry Kane saying, he goes, it makes sense like to trade him now because his value might never be higher. I just think I would have to ride Leicester here just because with Tottenham, I just see no signs of progress going forward for them. And it's going to be a shame that potentially Arsenal could be one of the clubs that kick them out for the Europa League spot because you got Everton traveling to City, not looking too hot for Everton to potentially jump up a spot if Tottenham drop them. And then you got Brighton traveling to Arsenal where minus 165 sitting on that Arsenal line. Everything's just expecting them to pull it out. I mean, they've never choked or dropped points in a crucial match before, have they, AJ?
Oh, I don't know about that one.
But that's where with Brighton, who's the king of XG this season, where they're getting all the chances imaginable, not finishing them. That's just kind of where even if Tottenham do end up dropping the points, just with who potentially could come up and pass them, they both have – I mean, Arsenal has kind of an easier test, so they could be in hot water and – man, that'd be wild. Come at the end of the season, Tottenham, who were sitting top of the table, Arsenal, who was sitting at the middle, and they end up flipping for that Europa competition next year. Or Europa Conference, I don't know what the hell we're going to call it, but I'm still calling it Europa until next year.
Yeah, no, that is fair. And I agree. I think we will see some chaos. I don't think this is as black and white as we think it is. So hoping for chaos on Sunday.
So I think maybe the biggest potential spot for chaos in the Premier League Everton's much better on the road than they are at home. We saw it again. Like, I don't know what it is with this club where they can't win at home. But City, who knows what team we're going to see out there. They probably might just milk it as a warm-up game for Champions League final coming up this Sunday. Maybe they do the Man United. You weren't here, but when Man United threw out MU2, what was that, 2 midweek matches ago where they played all of the kids. I think they had one starter in out of everybody. Mm-hmm. So I could see City potentially going that way as well. So that's a game where we're going to look for the lineups to potentially jump on Everton. But that would be really my biggest area of chaos. If you had to pick a chaos game real quick, which one are you choosing?
Chelsea, Villa. I think Villa I think Villa do something there.
All right. I like that one as well. All right. Let's get into Serie A, where you are obviously the expert in this league. We have some good matchups coming up. We're not going to talk about the Europa one in this one because Roma Sassuolo, it is what it is. Who finishes it? My buddy who's a Roma fan sweating it. So, sucks for him. But we got the biggest match we got here where Atalanta at Milan. Atalanta is locked into the spot. Milan needs to get one to push Juventus out of it because if Milan picks up all 3 points, they would end up being safe. I have a play on this game, so I'll dive into this match later. Napoli pulls out all 3 against Verona. They're safe. And then Juventus at Bologna. They just need one of those 2 matches to have some chaos in it. If not, Juventus could potentially be in Europa. That's what you got to watch in Serie A. So, we'll have some spicy stuff to talk next episode if Harry Kane and Ronaldo both are potentially looking at Europa and no action. So, tune in to us next week for that type of talk.
Yeah,
La Liga.
Quick question, Serie A. So, I'm guessing everyone hates Juventus. And I'm not saying teams are going to throw necessarily, but do you see Atalanta already secured, maybe throw out a couple reserve players or anything like that?
So wait to the best bets to hear about that strategy, but it's Serie A, it's FIFA. There's definitely always something fishy about wanting Juventus in there, but that's where Atalanta's safe, and they would, if any club they would want out, it would be them because Napoli and Milan have a bigger pool. Even though Atalanta's have secured their 3rd straight, which is they're becoming a name. So we don't have La Liga expert Joey B here, but you got 2 teams at the end of it that could pull it out. Atletico Madrid holds the advantage traveling to Valladolid, and then you have Villarreal traveling to Real Madrid here. AJ, I know you have a play on this one, so we'll breeze right through it. Along with Ligue 1, where this one is same thing. Lille traveling to Angers, PSG traveling to Brest. Man, regardless in both of those, it looks like a different team could be up top, but hang on in a few minutes to best bets where AJ will break down those matches perfectly. And then in the Bundesliga, we got through all of those leagues without talking a relegation battle. And that's one of my favorite things to talk about is who gets to stay up, who gets to keep the money. We got a good one here in the Bundesliga because Bielefeld sit at the top. They're traveling to Stuttgart, which is not an easy task. They are not favored. You got Gladbach traveling to Bremen, where Bremen, they currently sit in one of the relegation spots. Not looking too hot for them either. That game's evenly priced, but Gladbach does have incentive in that one. And then you got Schalke traveling to Köln. Any team picks up a win here, they potentially get themselves out. So all points at stake. And I have a bet in here because I always like the relegation battles.
Yeah, awesome. Great work.
All right, that's what to watch for in Europe because all the matches are usually going on at the same spot. I don't know why Serie A has 3 matches on Saturday and some on Sunday. I guess to give them a little bit of viewing, but all the matches don't matter because they put all the ones with implications on Sunday at the same time. Best bets time, AJ. So Joey B not here with us today. Sadly cannot give out his winners because he's been on a little bit of a hot streak right now. I know he did well last weekend. You have to follow him on Twitter. Let's tweet at him, get him to pick out some plays, but 2-2 last weekend for a whopping plus 0.24 units. Swept the MLS, got swept in the championship playoffs. It is what it is.
Yeah, I was 1-1 for 0 units the week previous to my suspension. I would have been 1-0, but I didn't have a play in the MLS. And like the Bundesliga, I don't think I'll be touching the MLS ever again.
You might have to when there's no Euro action yet. There's like that little week and a half. But don't worry. I got some MLS plays you can tail.
Thank you.
All right. I got a nice little 6-pack coming at you. Potentially even more when I get to look at lineups. AJ, you got 2 plays for us. So we'll figure out how to do this. But I'll start and give out 2 plays. I got 2 in Serie A, so let's stick there first. I don't know if you saw I retweeted it today where we're going to back Torino on the money line at minus 118. A reputable website in Italy put this out, so we're going to believe it, where the Benvenuto is punishing their coaches and players by making them take the 12-hour bus ride up to Torino to play that match since they got relegated. I mean, maybe they come out on fire and play against it, but I know traveling on match day or traveling like the night of where they have to take 12 hours, they'll get a little bit of a break. But going right into that match, maybe the first half is the smarter play because there's no way they come out firing after that one unless they just want to send a complete message to the owners that you sent us on a bus. At the same time, I think they just lay an egg here. Torino, sure, they might not have much to play for, but they've gotten smacked their last 3 or the last 4 matches, 12-2 on aggregate. So they survived the relegation. Maybe they want to turn around, give a little bit of beating because they had a 7-0 loss to Milan in that stretch. So we're going back Torino, short favorites at minus 118.
Yeah, I think that insider information you have with the bus 12-hour trip, and that's a conservative. There's always weird traffic and fans holding up stuff. If that outlet is correct, because for me, I could barely sit through like a 3-hour plane ride. I couldn't imagine 12 hours bus cramped together. So yeah, motivation and everything like that. I like the Torino pick.
So if I'm one of the Benvenuto players or the coaching staff, we're stopping at every possible stop and running up the bill everywhere because that has to potentially be comped. So make them pay for a little bit because they're being cheap. They want them to pay for the plane flight, so they're going to give them a bus ride there and back. It just seems strange. They're going down, I guess, trying to save any money at any cost. But, yeah, I think Torino can show up and get an easy winner here. So, AJ, it's a shame because I think you're on the right track earlier with the conspiracy theory of Juventus get into it. But I think it's more on Atalanta have a lot to play for here, where this will be the third season in a row where they're going to end with the most goals. Juventus in their streak, they haven't done that. So it's pretty impressive that Atalanta has done that when other clubs haven't. And plus, if they do end up pulling out a draw or dropping points here, they could potentially fall out of second. So Atalanta, they obviously haven't finished second. So that's where I think they do have a lot of motivation and angle to get up to that second spot, keep it there. You sure they're in the Champions League again, but that's why I'm going to play it safe with the pick at even. Their money line sits at decently higher, so you can get that above plus 150. But playing it safe here, where a draw does them not the worst in the world because they do hold the goal differential advantage. But I do think something fishy may come up to help Juventus get in there, potentially give Atalanta a winner. So that's why we'll play with the pick. I will monitor those lineups greatly because if I see a shit ton of rotation, maybe I don't do it because maybe Atalanta plays on the side of let's give Milan the points to get Juventus out of here. Could play the same way as well, but there's always, you'll see in the Premier League, you'll see some teams try, you'll see some teams throw in the bag because you do get paid more where you finish in the league based off that. So that's why I do like this Atalanta play at the pick.
Perfect. And quickly refresh my memory. What does AC Milan need in order to get into the Champions League next season?
A win, because unless Juventus drop points. So that's where if Juve drop and Milan drop at the same time, they both take L's. Milan holds the advantage. But if Juventus wins, then it puts the pressure on Milan.
Perfect. Thank you. And you had 6 plays, so do you want to do like 3-1-3-1?
Sure. All right. So I was going to save this one for the last, but we'll wrap the last 3 up with the MLS because that's what all the people came here for. Bro, we're at the 57% win rate. We got 22% ROI. Sure, we're 21% of the way through the season weeks wise. So we're getting there. We're crushing it. But in honor of Line Breakers FC Season 2, I was trying to find a way to play these teams, and then I noticed who they're playing in each. And if you've been here throughout the season, if you're a new watcher, listener, whatever the way you're doing it, you know there's 2 teams I love to fade this season. So we got to fade them both here on the can't lose money line parlay, where I hate taking my favorite money lines. I think this is the 3rd one in the history. They have done all right, but we're taking the Leeds money line because fading West Brom and Leeds first game at home with fans and however many years, 20 since they've been in the Premier League. That's where I was looking for a team total. Neither of my books had that out yet. That might be the safer play here because that place is going to be packed, and you've heard how loud some of those are. I'm expecting Leeds to have the best atmosphere. I'm definitely going to be trying to find that game on gold. So I like them on the money line. I think they potentially could give West Brom a shellacking, and they could finish. They could finish technically at the 7th spot. They would lose to Europa for goal differential, even if all the teams lost. So they did secure half top of the table, finish out on the win in front of your fans, and then. So fading West Brom, the other team love to fade Schalke. We're going to take the Cologne money line because, and if you parlay Leeds and Cologne, you get that at minus 107. I mean, Cologne need all 3 points to potentially get out of the relegation. They have the easiest task of the 3 because Gladbach does have stuff to play for against Bremen. And then Bielefeld, sure, it's a relegation. None of these teams are good, but I honestly believe Cologne's a stronger team than Bielefeld, and Bielefeld's going against Stuttgart. Stuttgart has nothing to play for, so that's potentially where does Bielefeld come out with the points. Got to fade Schalke one last time.
Yeah, I mean,
both of these teams, we won't be able to fade them next year unless we play Bundesliga 2. Well, I play the championship, but it's usually bad fading teams that get relegated into the championship, so got to fade my last 2 one last time this year because next season we won't be able to.
Yeah, and it's funny because in our Slack messages, Rex put out there something saying like Joey B is going to love my parlay, and I see why he likes it. It's a fade all special classic. So, yeah, that is awesome. But my first play, I'll keep it up in the parlay category. I call this the league winners special parlay. I got Lille minus 275 money line and Atletico Madrid money line minus 280. Parlay that together gets you around minus 117 depending on your book. I just like both of those teams to see this one out. I think Atletico Madrid's opposition is, I believe it was Valladolid, not the best squad. Real Madrid is going against Villarreal, I believe. So Atletico Madrid, no, 3 points and they're home safe. And Lille last week, I believe, had a 0-0 draw. PSG kept the pressure up. And this is Lille's chance to break the streak of PSG. So I like both of the, preseason underdogs to take home the league winner medal. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
The trophy, man. The cup, whatever. Yeah, but that's where Atletico Madrid, I do like them to definitely see that one out. Lille, I just hope there's nothing fishy up in that one. But to see Juventus and PSG streak end in the same season, that would be great for the other clubs across Europe where, sure, they're still qualifying for Champions League, but always like to see a different winner up top. So I do like that parlay. Maybe I'll look into adding it because I got my one already. Can't lose. This is a true can't lose or you lose the trophy parlay.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into MLS action time. So, AJ, I know you'll have some great questions, some great insights to bounce off here in the top league. But we're back in the Revs first. Staying with plus money MLS, we're going to make it through week 6. We skated by on one play for the plus money. But we got the Revs minus 0.75 at plus 110. Aaron Long is out for the rest of the season. Gutman out for the rest of the season. I know I texted our chat when Aaron Long's out, it's a perfect time to fade Red Bull. The Revs, they just don't lose at home this season. They've been strong, and they're sitting at the top of the table. If I get just even if they pull out the win outright, a half winner, I always take that. Where Red Bull, it looks like it could be a tough time when their back line is very banged up. They do have a nice young guy coming in with Duncan, but I still, when they have 2 of their more senior members out, I'm going to back them or going to fade them on the road. And Revs, they definitely need all 3 here. So I'll take them at minus 0.75.
Perfect. And it is a little plus money play, and Rex loves his plus money.
So we are now 3-2 on the fade train. We're almost coming to the end here with Austin because this team's playing a lot of fun. They got Ring. He's coming back this week. So I would feel a little less confident. But Nashville, man, they haven't lost on the season, but they have 4 draws and a win. So they're just grinding out the results, and they know they need wins because too many draws like that. We've seen Red Bulls, we've seen other teams cost it, but you do get the playoffs in the MLS, so it doesn't cost you that much more. But, yeah, I mean, this is their 6th straight road game. They got 3 more left after this. AJ, I'm really trying to play it through all the first 9. There's one that looks up that could be a little sketchy where I might stay off it, but we just got to stay to the gut with Nashville minus 0.75 at plus 102. I think Leal can be the right back of Austin's injured, and they've gone through 2 of them at this point. So the left side of Nashville, I think, can take great advantage of it. Their defense has cleaned it up after letting up some leaky goals at the beginning of the season, getting back into last season's form. So we'll take them where, once again, win, half winner. Not too bad. We got to keep plus money MLS the way it is.
Perfect. Question. So I know Austin FC 9 games on the road straight, you said. So I don't know if you know the answer to this, but do they play their away game, then go back to Austin, practice, and then head back out, or are they just on the road for 9 weeks straight?
They go back to practice into the week break. If it was midweek, they may not, but yeah, they've been going back and traveling. So MLS travels the worst out of every league as well, just because of how spread out they are. You just plug England into the United States, and then you can see how close it really is to everyone. So yeah, the travel is pretty brutal. It does pull up on your legs at one point, and I think the last few it could be the most profitable ones, but at 3-2 so far, can't complain.
Awesome. And what is your last play? Hit us with it.
It's a little bit of a homer play. Can't lie about that, but The numbers don't lie here, AJ, because I wasn't dying to back the Union on the money line, but at plus 151, where I checked info goals, checked the 538, the two sources I like for the win probability, it has it all the way at where the Union should be at plus 117. Yes, this is on the road, but where I'm thinking this line could move in my favor, sure, closing line value in soccer means absolutely nothing in the long scheme of it, probably a sport where it means the least. But I just think that's way too good of a number on a DC United team that, sure, they just got Paul Areola back, so they're starting to get some of their guys back. But Amid is still not back in goal. I just don't know how they're going to be able to create unless Areola comes back and does a big spark because the Union's defense have been solid. I think this game does go under the total as well. So that's kind of where, if you want to get super spicy and do a Union win to nil, they'll pay you out some nice coin. But I'm just going to keep it simple, do the money line at plus 151. And because I mentioned a bus ride, because that was 12 hours in Italy, the Union traveling to DC is like an hour and a half max. So that's kind of where it's not really that much of an away game where they're not flying. It's a quick bus ride in and out.
Perfect. Nice and easy. And I think your six-pack had some of your favorite plays to end the season, so I'm happy for that one.
Yeah, the fate of my two favorite teams. I didn't come in with this weekend with the intent, and when all the stars aligned, I was like, how do I not make the first 2-unit play ever, especially because the way I have in the sheet, that's play 200. So how do I not make that parlay a 2-uniter? But we won't. We'll keep every play of the first 202 at 1 unit or less.
I respect it. So my last play, the Premier League, my favorite league, the only league. I wouldn't say the only league. I'd say the league I know best. It was a season that I finished profitable this season, so I'm thrilled about that. Chelsea, Villa, over 2.5. It is quite juicy at minus 140, but I think we see both teams scoring, and I also think a team gets a winner. I do hope it's Villa, but I do see a Chelsea 2-1, 3-1 ending here. Chelsea obviously have the Champions League on the mind, but they still have to win this game in order to qualify. Actually, they could drop points if other results hold, but I think Chelsea know if they get all 3 points, then they secure themselves in Champions League next season. Villa looked pretty good. I think Watkins up top with Grealish provides some difficulty for other teams. So I think we see at least 3 in this one.
So you're back in my favorite trend, the last week of the season as well, where you have the away. It's the only away favorite that follows in the 2.5 over. Takes a lot of stones to be laying that juice where, the Tuchel Chelsea unders, and especially if you expect chaos with Villa keeping it up, then I can't go against it because as long as they get 1 through, I think this one easily hits over. But when I saw the minus 140, I looked at it, thought about playing it, but that's way too much juice for me. That's just a normal someone's play where they won't play anything lower than it, and that just makes me feel gross when I lock in something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I typically don't play that high of juice, but hey, if it wins, I won't complain.
Yeah,
so.
Who cares? Juice doesn't matter when it cashes.
Yeah,
and minus 140, that ain't bad either.
Yeah, if you are looking to reduce the juice, if you give me 1 second, I think at Joey B, both teams to score and over 2.5. I'm guessing that would pay around like minus 115-ish. Give me 1 second on that.
Yeah, that's where, in honor of Joey B missing it, we have a can't lose parlay special, and you gotta give out his both teams to score and over.
So,
but he probably put it down to over 1.5. If you're keeping it over 2.5, you'll get a nice plus money.
Correct. So if you do want to reduce the juice, both teams to score yes, and over 2.5 sits at plus 125.
All right, AJ, how'd you feel about your Lakers last night?
Dude, that I want to say arguably possibly game of the season. Back and forth looked pretty good. Stars came out to show. Reffing a little bit iffy. Draymond Green, typical Draymond Green antics. But in the postseason, 7-game series. I don't think anyone takes them down back-to-back this season. Run it back.
Any plays in tonight's game?
Dude, I have to lean the Wizards. I think they're -3. But NBA, I typically don't play pregame. I would always look for a live angle. NBA, most volatile lines. Teams go on 8-0 runs like nothing. Gives you, I don't know, like tons of points. So
especially with the short number. If you're dying to get the Wizards, you probably could easily get them at a dog price tonight.
Exactly. So wait on NBA to play live.
I love the over tonight.
Didn't
so when I loaded it up, I'm like over 237.5. I know Wizards, I think majority of their games have been over 230. But I was like, high over playoffs. They're doing it high for a reason because they're going to score points. But then I looked, and when the Pacers play in games with that's over 230, they're 18-6 to the number. Ooh. And on the road, when it's over 230, they're 8-2 to the number. So I think that's one definitely where if we do see a slow start, that would be the play that I would play live. But I did lock in half a unit on the over already, just in case they do come out firing. I just don't think there's going to be much defense tonight in the game.
I agree. Wizards, Pacers, super high, fast pace, tons of threes. But it is a playoff game, and typically an angle I like in playoff or do or die games is unders. But I think an over is the move in this game.
All right, let's recap our best bets real quick and sign off. Love when we get the other sports talk into the Line Breakers FC. So we got one Saturday play, and then one leg of the parlays on Saturday. All the rest is on Sunday. Definitely follow me on Twitter because I'll give you 2 leans that I like for Saturday as well. Didn't want to have 8 plays, even though it is a good weekend, and I do think there's decent plays across the board. We got Revs -0.75. That's the New England Revolution at +110. We got the Torino money line at -118. Fade the 12-hour bus ride for Benvenuto. Atalanta pick at the even. Something fishy might come up in Serie A, but Atalanta, they will want to keep second place. We got the can't lose parlay of fading my favorite team. So we're doing the Leeds money line and the Cologne money line at -107. So we're fading West Brom. We're fading Schalke. Have fun in the second tier. I'll miss fading you next season, but maybe you'll be back. Who knows? And then we got the Union money line at +151, the biggest price of the weekend, where I disagree with the price. It should be more around +120 to +115. And then we got to continue the fade Austin train of Nashville -0.75 at +102. And then 2 overs that I love this weekend. Want to look into it more is Chicago Fire, Inter Miami over 3, and the NYCFC Columbus over 2.75. And that one's a huge contrarian if you want to play that over.
Wow. There is
been doing my homework.
Yeah, an official 6-pack from Rex, as well as 2 leans in the MLS. But for me, I got 2 plays only. I got the league winner parlay special. Lille moneyline, Atletico Madrid moneyline parlay together pays out -117. And Chelsea, Aston Villa over 2.5 sits at -140. Don't love the juice, but I think we see 3 in this one.
Perfect. That's going to wrap us up. We'll be back next Thursday. Make sure to check us out at thebreakdownsports.com. Follow us on Twitter at BRKDWN_sports. If you love talking hoops, make sure you give at It's DERL a follow. He hosts some great spaces. AJ was in them yesterday. I'm in them a lot. If you want to, he goes in each day, talks about the lines. It's playoff time. If you want to make some money, definitely be jumping into his spaces. He'll be live later on our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter channel with Kevin to break down the game. So if you want to watch some hoops, stay on our Twitter for a little bit. Spend your Thursday night with the breakdown. But until next week, you can follow us under our heads. AJ, I'm done spelling your name. Have a good one.